Hello Stampers, I've got this fun heart tree scene for you today. This would be great for Valentine's Day or just anytime you want to send somebody some love, right? So what I'm using is the Beauty of Friendship stamp set. We'll be using this tree trunk here. And also this little dotted stamp here is excellent for this project. So we'll be using that along with you can pull the sentiment from about any stamp set you want, like a Valentine's Day stamp set or just anything that has to do with love. And I pulled image out of, I like this Love You So Much, and I pulled it out of the Flowering Tulips stamp set. And then for this outside little edge here, this is an excellent die set. It's Delicate Edges dies. And it has these 4 dies here that you can use for your edging. So it just adds a lot to your card to add something like that along the edge there. So we're going to do that. And we're going to start off with our main panel, which is 3 by 5 and it's basic white. All the dimensions for this card are down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them there along with the product links that'll take you directly to my online store where you can shop with me 24/7. So I have my basic white panel here, and then we need a mask for our heart. So I'm taking this heart punch here from Stampin' Up. This comes in a duo pack. It has a regular heart and then it has this scalloped heart. We're using the scalloped heart for this project and a couple of 3 by 3 post-it notes. Now I'm going to take this post-it note and I'm going to cut it down. This is the sticky edge up here. I'm going to cut some of this off, about a 1/2 inch, and that way it'll fit into the punch better. So I'm going to put it all the way down so that the top of the heart is being punched out of the sticky part of the post-it note. Now this is a double layer, so make sure you have a double layer going there. Otherwise, your punch would probably get jammed up with that just 1 layer. So I have 2 here. And this is going to be our mask for our heart part of the tree. So I'm going to put this on. And I'm, let's see, 3/4 of an inch from the top. Okay, so we have that done. And now we're going to put our background in. And I'm going to start with Balmy Blue and a blending brush. And I'm just going to blend some of this Balmy Blue and just like circular motions here and there, adding it to our background. And this actually it looks like you have clouds going on when you're just doing a circular motion and you're leaving some of that white showing. And I'm going to bring this down. So I'm on it below the heart, about a 1/2 inch there. Okay, so that was Balmy Blue. Now we're going to go a little darker, and I'm going to bring in some Pacific Point. I'm going to get a darker blue blending brush here. And I'm just going to add a bit of this to the sky also. Again, that same circular motion, just kind of in patches. There we go. That's Pacific Point. And I want some purple in the scene too. So I'm bringing in Highland Heather ink. We're going to do that same thing. I'm kind of concentrating on putting this kind of by the darker spots in the scene. I love that Pacific Point with this color, with Highland Heather. There we go, and there's our purpley blue background sky. And then I'm going to take a post-it note. You can get away with 1 here. And here's the sticky part up here, and I'm just going to rip just a few little tiny little mountain shapes in this, hills and valleys. All right, and I want some like a hill over on this side of my heart. And do like, there we go. I'm going to turn this upside down so I can work on it correctly. And I'm going to get some cherry cobbler out here and a blending brush, and I want to do this lightly. I can't stress this enough. This is lightly, so I'm just getting some of that cherry cobbler off the brush before I go on to this panel. And I'm putting some down along this post-it note edge here, just to create a little mountain shapes beside my heart here. And then I'm going to move my post-it note and do the same on the other side of the heart. There we go. Then I'm going to remove that. Now we have our mountains in the background. And that was cherry cobbler. I'm going to add some Parakeet Party for our ground area. I wanted it nice and bright down here. So I'm going to go back and forth with my blending brush and this Parakeet Party, and I'm going up into that blue some. That gives a little blended look here into your mountains. And this really just brightens that scene up. Okay, Parakeet Party. All right, so now I'm going to take our mask off for our heart here, and we're going to stamp our tree trunk, and this is out of the Beauty of Friendship stamp set, and I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black for this. And if you stamp the peak of the tree right at the bottom of that little dip in the top of the heart, it fits nicely. So there is our tree trunk. And I'm going to go, while I have this ink out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. The sentiment comes out of the flowering tulips, but you can take a sentiment from whatever stamp set you want. All right, and then I'm just going to add this to the bottom here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to start filling in our heart. And I'm going to start with the lightest color first, which is Blushing Bride. And I have that little dotted stamp, and we're going to be dotting for a little while here. So I'm going to dot this all over this. You can turn that. It's okay to get some of those little dots, the tiny ones, outside of the heart shape. That kind of gives it a frilly look. But those big dots you want to keep inside of your heart shape the best you can. You don't want to lose that heart shape, that's for sure. That's the whole point of this tree. So we're going to cover this whole white area with the Blushing Bride spots. Okay, so now we're going to go a little darker. And we're going to bring in Melon Mambo here. We're going to repeat this whole thing, and these are going to show up much, much darker. Just make sure you're not covering all of your blushing bride. You want some of that pink, light pink showing. Okay, and with this, I'm going to turn this so I have the bigger dot on this side, and I'm going to start using those little teeny dots, and I'm going to add some so they go a little bit outside of the heart shape to give that little frill. Okay, so there is that. Now we're going to go darker yet. That was Melon Mambo. We're going to go to Cherry Cobbler. It's good to add quite a bit of this Cherry Cobbler to the inside of this heart to get it good and filled in. Because your trees are always darker on the inside of them, right? Dotted stamps are so handy. You just put in as much as till you think it looks great. I kind of like that. Okay, and when we have this Cherry Cobbler out, I'm going to put a shadow underneath our tree. So I'm going to turn this upside down, and I'm going to take a Post-it note, and I'm going to place it on this. I'm going to lighten up against one side here. I'm going to have a little bit of that tree trunk showing. Okay, and then I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm going to lightly add a little bit of color, and I'm going to go back and forth here, just about as wide as your heart is, because this is the shadow for your tree, so it's not going to cast a shadow further out this way than what your heart is wide. Oh, your heart is wide. And there is a little bit of shade going on there, and when you turn around, there is your shaded part of your tree. And then we're going to take that little dotted stamp again with the Cherry Cobbler, and I'm just going to add just a few of these at the bottom here. There we go. Now I have a little trick to show you. I have a white gel pen here. See how our tree trunk looks like it's just on top of all the leaves? Well, I want to set it back some and make it look like that we have leaves on top of the branches. So I'm going to take a white gel pen, and I'm going to add some dots here and there over the tree trunk. And since we have the color going on in the background and lots of white showing, it just kind of blends in. It makes it look like your tree branches are in the tree leafy part, not on top of. Kind of pushes it back. And anywhere that white shows up on top of that Cherry Cobbler, it turns kind of pinkish. So it blends in really well. So you just add as many as you think to make those branches kind of disappear a bit. And see how that works out? Super easy. So that was just with a white gel pen. And while I have that pen out, I'm going to add a few dots along the bottom here also. Just for like little white flowers here and there in the grassy area. So there is our scene all done. Okay, so we're going to set this aside just for a moment. We're going to start putting our card together. And I have a Petal Pink panel that's 4 by 5.25. And I'm going to adhere this die cut that I created. And again, this was from the Delicate Edges Borders dies, and this is the one I used. So I'm going to glue this to the left side of the cardstock. And I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue here. And I'm putting glue all along this long strip here. And then I'm just going to add just a little bit on each of these little tiny arches here in the design that are more solid. It's okay if these don't have any glue on them. I'm not worried about that. They can stay loose. But now I'm just going to put this on and center it. Let's see. I think I like that. And I'm just going up to the edge of that Petal Pink panel there. All right, so I have that on, and now I'm going to just take this, trim off this excess. And there's our design. All right, so our main panel is going to be backed by a basic black panel that's 3 1/8 by 5 1/8. And this is just 1/8 of an inch larger than our main panel. Here we go. I'm going to set that aside, and now I want some ribbon on here. And this ribbon, oh my gosh, this is the soft polyester ribbon, and this is in Petal Pink, and this just feels like leather to me. It's just beautiful ribbon. So check that out. It's item number 159192. It's also in my list below this video that you can pick it up. It's just stunning. Now I want this ribbon now at the 1/3 point. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add a mini glue dot on each side just to adhere those ends to the back. One glue dot is good. Just make sure you press that ribbon down into it well. There we go. And there's our ribbon. And we're going to adhere this to the front of the card here. Now I'm going to put my glue right over that ribbon too. Let's add some love in this card. Just going to center it up on a basic black card base. This card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and then when you fold it in half, it makes your quarter card. That's a pretty color combination, isn't it? That Petal Pink and black. Okay, and then we're going to take our main panel here, and I'm going to put a bunch of Stampin' Dimensionals on it. Maybe one more right here. There we go. And now I'm just going to put this on, and I want it to where it's up against that black strip there. There we go. put on there just where I like it. And now I'm just going to take another piece of this ribbon. It's a little short piece we're going to use here. And I'm just going to slide it under this ribbon we've already put on. And I'm going to tie this in a knot. So my ribbon is facing the right direction that I want it to be in. There we go. There's a good knot. Give my ends a bit of a trim. There we go. And there's our little tie. Kind of looks like a bow. It's a cheat bow. Okay. So there is our heart tree. I love it. I think it looks great. And that white little cheat there for to push the branches back is just a quick way to do that. And one more thing. Let's go ahead and put our panel on the inside. This is another panel that's 4 by 5.25 and it's Petal Pink. And that will finish off the inside of the card. And there we have it. There's our finished project. You can send some love to somebody. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you give it a go. Take care. Bye.